So today is this wonderful day of the winter solstice, when the sun goes to its lowest point on the horizon, and I want to inspire you to go deeper into yourself, particularly on this day, by giving you a physics metaphor for how our deep inner states transform into something that's outward and material and physically tangible. And this metaphor comes from quantum mechanics. The pictures that I have here, that I put on this screen, show the so-called electron clouds. Now, electron clouds are describing the probabilities of any of the electron to show up at different places, if you wish, in the atomic, realm, depending on what type of or what kind of energy state the electron is. Which means, if electron is in this energy state, then these more bright areas are showing the places where it's more likely to show up when you look for it. There's no guarantee of any kind in quantum mechanics. Everything is probabilistic. You cannot say electron will be here or it will be here. But you can calculate very precisely what's the probability of the electron to show up at any place if you look for it. So in this energy state, you have this type of configuration for the probability. In this place over here, it's very unlikely or completely impossible for the electron to show up. But in this state over here, it's completely different. In this state over here, there's quite a bit of the likelihood that it shows exactly there. And very unlikely that it shows where it was earlier, quite likely for it to show. So the energy state of the electron is determining what is more likely to show up or manifest. Where exactly is electron going to show up and what kind of event can possibly happen. It's not much different in our life. Going back to electron states, it's described by so-called 4 quantum numbers. One is missing here. So those quantum numbers, not really critical, but they're called principal, orbital, magnetic, and spin. There are 4 quantum numbers, and if you combine them in any different order, you get different energy state. Actually, this other picture is actually showing more of these energy states, and you can see how beautiful they are. This is for hydrogen atom. Just marvelous beauty in this deepest inner nature of the things. And if you want to translate this to our own energy states and what can transpire through our own energy states, you want to look into 4 aspects of ourselves that define our energy state. Just like with electrons that have 4 quantum numbers, we have 4 aspects that define our energy state. One is, according to Stephen Covey and many other authors, I'm just quoting him here, it's physical, intellectual, and emotional and spiritual. That's what he calls the 4 intelligences that we have to sharpen up all the time. So combination of those 4 are defining your or our energy state: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. And those in combination create probabilities, just like with electron. They create probabilities that something will happen and how likely it will happen. What's most likely and what's less likely, or maybe even impossible. So by changing your state, just like electron, by changing your energy state, you can completely change the likelihood and possibility of what's possible to transpire into this material world. That's quite profound. It's actually beautiful too. So if you were to think of your present combination of the states, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, what kind of matter would have greatest likelihood of transpiring from that state? And what you can do, and this is why this is so beautiful, you can change that state. You can completely change that state, and that creates a whole new realm of what's possible and what's likely. Now, in quantum mechanics, just like in life, nothing is guaranteed. You cannot say, I'm going to go into this state and then this is going to happen at that time, at that place. That's not how it works. But the way it does work is you can very precisely calculate how likely something will happen. So if you're in a certain state, and if you do, if it manifests so many times, you can calculate exactly the likelihood that it will transpire a certain way. I'll give you an example. So if you come into the room full of people with a happy, joyful, inquisitive, open-hearted energy state, the likelihood that you're going to be received much more favorably than if you come, let's say, grumpy and closed and off-puttish, not looking into people. The likelihood that you're going to get much more favorable reaction in the first case is hugely greater, let's put it that way. So there's no guarantee. You might find some, no matter how happy you come in, there might be a grumpy person that doesn't react favorably, but likelihood of that is very small, and also enormously smaller than if you come in this other possible state. So looking into your combination of states, physical, thought, emotional, and spiritual combination of energies, if you wish, what would be the most conducive state to create what you want to create the highest version of yourself? You can think for this moment or even for the next year. Some beautiful outcome, some great relationship, some wonderful flow that you are expecting, abundance of some kind. What emotional, spiritual, physical, and intellectual state would most likely create that, would be most conducive to that? And you can do it right now. You can take a few deep breaths and put yourself right into that state, right this moment. How soon, how quickly, where and which way is going to transpire, we'll see. But this is the place to start. So during this beautiful time of winter solstice, I wanted to give you this as an incentive from physics to go deep inside and to create your beautiful world for yourself and for everybody around you from the inner space. Have a wonderful manifestations and start from within. As within, so without. Right? There's something to it. You take care.